Welcome back to Axis and Allies, the anniversary edition. We're on to the U.S. turn, and I'm just going to give you an update and let you know how long the series is going to go so that you can make plans, because this is going on a long, long time. We are on the U.S.'s turn. Currently, the IPCs between the Axis versus the Allies have a total of 103 IPCs, and the Axis have a total of 74. Well, that's a pretty big discrepancy. Now, Japan looks like they're just engulfing the world, but when you look at the IPCs between the Axis versus the Allies have a 29 IPC lead at the moment, and it's the US's turn. So how I'm going to end off our series here, not today, I am going to do, of course, our US turn today, and then I'm going to do 6 more turns, basically one for each power. We'll take a look at the IPCs at the end of that, and we'll wrap the series up. That's going to be quite long enough, I think, quite long enough. I would give you a very good idea of how the game plays, and by that time, we'll probably have a better idea of the inevitability of one side or the other winning or losing. And if not, I'll give my thoughts on kind of where I think things would be headed. All right, U.S. has 41 IPCs to spend. They currently have a bomber in England. They've got transports and units in Eastern. They're into the North Africa with 4 units. They are built up their Pacific Fleet pretty good. They got subs out there, the Solomon Islands. It's all looking good. So let's figure out what the U.S. is going to spend their 41 IPCs on this turn. Alright, so what the U.S. is going to purchase or produce this turn is 1 armored unit, 3 infantry, 1 bomber division, a destroyer, and a submarine, leaving 1 IPC left over. And yes, tomorrow's episode, first of our last 6 episodes, will be back to Germany. Alright, let's now see what the U.S. is going to do with regards to attacks, if any. Alright, we are going to be going on a bombing raid. I don't know if we should hit Italy again or whether we should go ahead and hit Germany. You know, I think the U.S. is going to try bombing Germany, so they're going to go 1, 2, 3. Of course, there's anti-aircraft, and we know that this can fly back to the U.K. It can also go 1, 2, 3 and fly over to a Russian location as well. Then maybe, anyway, we'll do that. All right, let's see if there are any more attacks that we're going to do with the U.S. All right, the U.S. will do one more attack. They're going to attack Libya. They're going to send in an aircraft, a fighter division, and they're going to send in an armored unit into there, leaving the artillery and the infantry in Morocco. Okay, so there's going to be that attack. I think that is going to be it for actual attacks this time. There's lots of non-combat moves that they're going to be doing, but as far as attacks go, that's it. All right, let's do the bomber run against Germany first and see if they have any luck. All right, so the U.S. is flying into Germany. Let's hope it's not a day raid. All right, Germany will be rolling 1 die. If they roll a 1, the U.S. bomber is shot down. And they roll a 5, so that does not happen. All right, let's see how many IPs or how much damage the American bombers can do to the German factory. Well, a pretty ineffectual bombing run, but we will be putting 1 damage marker underneath the German factory. Alright, I've put 1 damage marker under the factory, and now we got a little bit of action going on here in North Africa. So we have an armored unit and a fighter taking on the 1 Italian infantry. Alright, that's going to be 2 dice hitting on 3s. And there's the 1 hit we need. So the Italian infantry is destroyed. However, yes, of course, it gets a retaliation possibly at a 1 or 2, and it does nothing. It's exactly what the U.S. wanted. So the U.S. has captured this. Of course, this plane has, well, I should have put it on here. It has a range of 3. It cannot land in Libya. So we'll put there for a 3. But the U.S. has captured that. So what's going to happen now is the U.S. is going to go up 1 to 42. And Italy's going to drop from 13 down to 12. So the U.S. making good headway here in North Africa. Might be short-lived once Italy gets to go, but at least It's captured that for now. And that's going to be all of the attacks that the U.S. have done. And now we have to do all the non-combat moves. So let's get to those. Alright, bit of a high level here. So non-combat moves. We're going to take the bomber. It is going to fly back to the UK. There we go. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take these two transports that are in danger of the German Luftwaffe shooting them down. They can't reach these ones over here. So we're going to take them. We're going to move all four, or the other two transports over here. And we're going to leave it at that. Because 1, 2, 3... Yes, that's what we're going to do. We're going to leave that there. And now let's go over to the Pacific, because we have lots, well, not a lot, we have a bunch of naval unit movement happening over there for the U.S. Alright, it is time for the U.S. to start shifting around their naval units in the Pacific. And what they're going to do is they're going to go to Midway. They're going to take their aircraft carrier to Midway, and they're going to take the two destroyers to Midway. They're going to take the two subs to Midway. They are also going to take the two subs hanging out in the Solomon Islands. They're also going to go to Midway. So currently at Midway, we have 4 submarines for the U.S., 2 destroyers, and a loaded aircraft carrier. Kind of on the doorstep of Japan. Now, that could be a dust-up in the Pacific. We'll see. And that's going to end off all the non-combat moves for the U.S. So let's take a quick look at China and see where they are. Well, the sad reality of China is they have one location that they are in control of, and that's it. And they divide by 2 and round down as to how many units of reinforcements they get. So basically 1 divided by 2 is, unfortunately, that's a half, and half rounded down is 0. So they don't even get 1 reinforcement, but I think the Russians might be able to help them out, help repel the Japanese advance. Alright, well that's going to be the end of the US's turn. They have 1 IPC left over. They will be gathering 42, so they're going to have 43 IPCs to spend next time. But now they have to put their units down. So let's see where they're going to put all their production units. And yes, it looks like Germany first. So the bomber we're going to put down here. And we can put 12 units down here, which is a ton. So the bomber is going down in here. The 3 infantry are going to be going in here. And the armored unit also in here. Sherman tanks and also the destroyer and submarine are also going in here. And that is going to be all of the placements there. So we have 4 transports here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 infantry, 2 armored units, and 2 artillery. So we'll be able to pick up on the U.S.'s next turn. They're going to be able to pick up 4 infantry, both armor, both artillery, and even ferry them over to the U.S. or to the U.K. if they want to, or they can come and dump everything in Africa. We'll see what happens, because they're going to get 1 more turn. They'll be the last turn of our playthrough. Oh, I forgot to move the North African plane here that could move 3. It can't stay there, so it's going to fly back to... It has a 3, actually. It's going to fly back to Morocco, Algiers. Is that what it's going to do, or is it going to go... Well, that's really the only place I can go. It's going to go back to Morocco, Algiers. There we go. I forgot to do that. All right, we're going to zoom out. We're going to wrap up our episode for today. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our episode for today for the U.S. and China. And now we even have more of a skew. We got 104 IPCs for the Allies, and we are down to 73 for the Axis. But let's not forget, the Axis goes next. Germany's up next. I don't know what they're going to do. They're getting a little bit squeezed from all sides. The Russians have fought back quite nicely. But we'll see. We'll see what Germany has to do tomorrow on their turn. And I think they have 25 IPCs to spend, and they have 1 damage on their factory now, which they have a 10 production, so the 1 damage, they're probably going to ignore it. Alright, thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your comments, subscriptions, likes. This is Axis and Allies, the Anniversary Edition. Doing a complete playthrough, sort of. We're going to do 1 more turn for every world power. and then we're going to call it a game. And you can see why this game, when you sit down, you need to sit down for an entire day to play it. Because it takes that long. It is, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I really do enjoy this. I really like Italy in this one as well. Pretty cool. And now we got a Japanese and Italian fleet are almost meeting up. Could get worrisome. All right, thanks so much, and really appreciate it. And I hope to see you tomorrow for the continuation when we get into Germany's last turn. Oh my god, a big correction here at the end of the episode. Well, it's not huge, but I have been playing with fighter escorts. This is the first time we're going to see fighter escorts come into play. When the U.S. bomber was coming and flying into Germany and trying to do a bombing run, it avoided the anti-aircraft fire. That's all good. There are two German fighter aircraft here, though, who are going to fly up and try and intercept the American bomber. And that means that if we had attacking fighters with us, they would be rolling 1s to hit, and the defending fighters, the German Luftwaffe, are sending up their fighters to intercept the bombers. They get to hit on a 2 or less. And so we're going to roll 2 dice for those 2 fighters. And if we get any 1s or 2s, the bomber is going to be shot down by the fighters, and we're not going to do any damage to the German factory. And there's the 2. And so by using fighter escorts, unfortunately, the American bombers avoided the anti-aircraft fire, but they did not avoid the attack from the fighter aircraft, the Luftwaffe, that were sent up from Germany. So would they have done that? Probably not. They probably would have went over to Italy. But I'm going to leave it at that just to show you how anti-aircraft fire and fighter escorts work. So that's another way, if you're using fighter escorts to protect your factories, is to have a fighter sitting in your factory zone. So there you go. That's how that works. All right, it was only 1 damage anyway, but the Americans did lose their bomber, so that's a little depressing for them. But, you know, when you go in daytime raids and you don't have any fighter escorts with you, that's what happens. All right, thanks so much. I'll see you tomorrow for the continuation, and we're going to have Germany taking their turn.